Welcome to Calculus in the AM. I'm your host, Mr. Shandelka. Take a word from our sponsors. Papa Joe's Dance Studio.
I want to go to that dance.
You should.
Papa Joe's.
Papa Joe's.
There's a biscuit recipe.
What's that?
There's a biscuit recipe that Papa Joe's biscuit
I am Papa Joe, in case you need to know.
recipe.
Jansen Kashubian. Kashubian is my specialty. Anyways, unorthodox methods to bring out the best in all. Now, quotient rule. I'll get you guys to pay attention to this, though. Right, we're on this, 4.7. What if you have, and I told you only to do a few questions on that hand in assignment. For example, you would not do anything at this moment if you had a quotient going on here, a rational function. Unless it was a very simple one. You guys know how to deal with that if it's only x on the bottom. This, though, x is on the top, a function of x on the top, function of x on the bottom, right? How do we do it? This. Now, you can prove these things and use the definition of a derivative, always, the limit. Because keep in mind, when we're doing these rules, we're actually doing a shortcut so that we don't use the limit directly. It's a result that you see after doing those limits over and over again. So this means if you're trying to do that, you see the tick mark like f prime? The derivative of an expression with a function of x on the top and a function of x on the bottom. This is a great example right here. What do? It's sort of like the product rule, except this time you take the derivative of the top, leave the bottom alone. This time, instead of adding, you subtract. The bottom, or the top left alone, the derivative of the bottom. Do you guys see how it's sort of like that? Now the other difference, other than the negative sign, is that you keep the denominator the same and you square it. You don't do any calculus to it, if you will. It's all built into the formula. Let's just see this here. So, f and g. So if my function is I'm going to circle blue and green here just so you can see what I'm talking about with colors, right? So, in this particular case, my f prime of x, my derivative of that rational function, is the derivative of the top, bottom left alone, f prime of x. So 2, the derivative, the bottom left alone. Subtraction is built into the formula. The top left alone. Derivative of the bottom. The derivative of x minus 1 is 1. I'll write it down. I wouldn't normally. All over g part of the function squared. So the denominator squared, x minus 1 in the square. That is, as on the assignment says, show first step, do not simplify. That is the first step. Do not simplify, right? Right here. Now.
Wait, why is the g the derivative of g1?
Sure.
X.
Okay.
Oh, wouldn't it be 0?
X minus 1. The derivative of this part is, the derivative of the letter x is 1.
Yeah, that's what subtract from.
Subtract 0.
Oh, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just showing the first step there. If we wanted to, this one isn't bad. I mean, it's just arithmetic after this. Generally, as a rule, never multiply out the denominator. Okay? It's a waste of time, usually. Because to simplify things, usually you want it factored in. Here, though, blue 2 times x minus 1, so that's 2x minus 2. Subtracting 2x. Subtract 3. I think you can see that the numerator is negative 5 over the denominator. So there you go, it does tidy up quite nicely. Sort of like me. I tidy up. So yeah, half exponents, fraction exponents. On your assignment that you have, I'm going to ask that you don't rewrite the questions other than using fraction exponents, if necessary, okay? And what's that?
I have.
Now, it's not so much the ones that I assigned so far. There's some other things, but I'll show you later. Anyways, so I'm going to rewrite this with fractions. So first of all, I'm going to just rewrite it. F of x. So I've got on the top x to the 1/2. Bottom x to the 1/2, subtract 2. Now I don't call that reorganizing too much. So now we're going to show that this is obviously after you do some work though, right? This is in the back of the answer book kind of thing. So let's do our derivative. We'll use f prime notation. Shouldn't matter what notation we use. Now, if you recall the rule, it's at the top of your page. Derivative of the top, leave the bottom alone. So that's 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. The bottom is left alone. Subtract. I'm going to move some stuff over. The top left alone. The derivative of the bottom. 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. Let's subtract 2 part zeros out. Now, does it confuse us if I just switch the bottom back? Because I know that I can see what I want to show it as root -2 in it. So I'm going to just put this in a square anyways. Instead of x to the 1/2 -2, I'll use my root right now. That's not a big deal if you didn't. Because I'm not doing a derivative directly on that part of the expression. So then what? I've got to distribute on the numerator, right? When I distribute, I'm going 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 times x to the positive 1/2. What happens to those two exponents when you multiply them? Well, you add them, so negative 1/2 plus positive 1/2 is x to the 0. They cancel out and they come as a form of 1. So it'll be 1 times the 1/2. Okay. So keep that in mind. I'm dropping the color scheme because they're all get mixed up. So 1/2 x to the 0, so 1/2. Subtract 2 times 1/2. So subtract x to the 1/2 negative. Subtract 1 x to the 0. I'll pause for a minute. Make sure you're all with me. I wrote it on a downhill slope, I see. That's okay. Are we good on this? Am I good on this? So what happens?
X power 1/2 into the.
So I did this, right? And we talked about that one. Then I multiplied here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're good with that?
X to the power of negative 1/2, right?
Right. Now I just noticed I was on the wrong mode here, so that's. So this is that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this, again, a repeat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So we're good?
yeah.
Okay. And you see how it's 1/2 subtract 1/2. So it's gone. Now, all we have left on the top right now is negative 1 times x to the minus 1/2. What does the minus mean? Toss it downstairs, right? throw it down the stairs, and a half means root. Do you guys see how we've got this expression there? Your next step would be to rewrite it as -1. The x to the -1/2 means the root. And as we were writing already, oh, I wrote that down. Not as we're writing. There we go. Just with the doctor order.